Hello, this video is to help you prep for districts and beyond. We're going to focus on DECA role play prep and specifically DECA Plus. So you can click on the blue DECA role play prep folder in Schoology. And we're going to click on the very first link, which is DECA Plus login info. And you typically just need to log in once if you save the password. So we just have one uh, site for everybody to use. So everybody's going to use the same my email address and then the same password here. So click on this link to go to DECA Plus. Might redirect you. Then go to login, and like I said, it's going to automatically log in if you've done it before, but it's just my email, which is back in the Schoology folder, and then BPDECA23. So once you get to this site, it really is great. This is the second year they've offered. And scroll down, and you're going to look for competitive events. In this particular video, we're just going to focus on the role play events. There is info for projects too. So scroll down, you'll see each of the 4 first-year principal events. Then you'll see the 2-person team decision-making events, and then you'll see the individual series events. So for today, we'll go to the hotel and lodging management series. We'll pretend that is our event and click on it. There is a ton of info for you. One thing that you can click on, which I usually suggest to wait until states because it can be overwhelming, but you can click on that performance indicator and it will show you every single possible performance indicator that you could potentially see in your role play. And remember, I do have that instructional area role play list, so you do know the topic of your role play for districts, and you're welcome to flip through and find it here. But these documents you can see up here at 66 pages. So if you really want to narrow it down and look for your instructional area, but usually I recommend diving into this while you're prepping for states, but it is there if you want it. And if you scroll down here, so there's a sample video. If you go back to when we were in COVID 2 years ago, everything was online. So that was one bonus from COVID. They do have sample videos from the winning role plays that year. There's information on the exam, the role play, industry trends, interactive prep, and DECA Direct articles. So we've got the role play video here that you can watch, and you can watch in a variety of events just to get different ideas. Over here, we have the exam prep. So there's exam strategies over to the right. And then you can see there are a ton of DECA exams that you can take. So association exam, if you see that, that's a state level exam, district exam, and then ICDC's international. And I will say one thing, the tests don't necessarily get harder. I feel like sometimes our best scores have been at nationals, and sometimes the district tests can be tricky. So it doesn't necessarily increase with time. But let's see, we want to take a look at last year's district test. So the one thing about DECA Plus, there will be a couple options to do online testing, but for the most part, these are PDFs of the physical paper test. So if you're going to take any of these, I would suggest getting a piece of scrap paper, numbering 1 to 100, and then just writing your letter response down. So here are all your questions. So you'll go through your questions and you'll have an hour to complete this if you want to practice timing yourself. The nice thing about these tests, when you get to the end, there's an answer key. And this is one thing you don't get with the online tests, that it tells you the correct answer, what that correct answer is, what it means, and often what the other terms mean and why they are incorrect. So it's really a great learning source to go through too and read up on any that you maybe have missed. And again, there are many, many options here. And I also have many old hard copy tests too, if you would like to ever take any of those. Moving down a little bit, this is the exam blueprint. And we're going to show you this also when we get to the competition university prep. One thing we've discovered, I believe that the test questions are actually in alphabetical order. So if you see here, business law, down to strategic management, this tends to be the order that the questions are asked for each test. Business law does tend to be a trickier one. Economics can be at times too. So don't get stressed if there's a lot of tricky questions up front, because when you get to the product, promotion, selling, ones that are a little bit easier, those are towards the end. This exam blueprint is nice too because it shows you how many questions at the district level will be for each topic. And it's pretty evenly distributed here compared to some of the other tests, but you can see information management and operations are definitely questions to look into a little bit more for the test. Scrolling down, there's role play prep here. There's role play strategies. There's 3 sample role plays for you to click on here too. And again, these are just PDFs that it will show you. This is nice too because I don't believe I've showed you what the judges see. And if you keep scrolling down, this gives you a chance to look and see at the judges how those performance indicators match up word for word what you see, and then the 21st century skill areas that are on every evaluation sheet. So the judges scorecard is in the back of these too. Scrolling down some more. So these are great industry trends. Just to like read up a little bit and maybe like find a few items to have in the back of your head that you could use for a role play. I was telling the group today that going back, this is probably going back 8 or so years now, but I had a group when search engine marketing, search engine optimization was becoming a bigger thing. And that was like their go to. They would try to incorporate that into all their role plays. And the judges were typically impressed, throwing out some terminology, something that was trendy out there. So I recommend reading up on some of these articles too before the 13th. There's also some interactive prep here as far as vocabulary flip cards, performance indicator flip cards, and then there is one practice test that is online for each area. So you could take this 100-question test too, just to practice taking the test online. So this is DECA Plus, and really, like I said, it's a great resource. If you would happen to exhaust all of the resources for your particular event, you could always go and look at other role plays too, or take other tests as well to increase your knowledge and comfort with this. One thing I did tell the group after school today too, which I think I've touched on in a lot of the classes, is these tests are tricky. You're not supposed to know everything. There's going to be a fair number of words, terms you don't know. Uh, just like we were talking about, like 50s and 60s can get you through to states. And definitely, if you do move on to states in the role play event, we can amp up the test and the role play prep. But just I would go through as many questions as you can just so you get comfortable before the test next Thursday, which is December 8th. So this is it for the DECA Plus video. Please let me know if you have any other questions.